In global trade, a single decision can send ripples across continents. The world's supply chains are more interconnected than ever, and a policy shift in one country can quickly reshape the economic landscape for many others. Mexico's latest move has done just that, shaking up the automotive industry and catching the US and Canada off guard. The country, long known as a manufacturing powerhouse, is now making headlines for a bold new stance that could redefine its role in North American trade. The change? Mexico is ending tariff exemptions for electric vehicles, closing its doors to foreign car makers, especially those from China. This means that companies hoping to use Mexico as a backdoor into the US market will now face new barriers and higher costs. This isn't a minor tweak, it's a bold economic strategy to protect Mexico's growing auto sector and align more closely with its North American partners. By tightening its trade policies, Mexico is signaling its commitment to strengthening regional cooperation and supporting local jobs. For years, Mexico was a gateway for Chinese EVs into the US, fueling an economic boom through nearshoring. Chinese automakers took advantage of Mexico's trade agreements, setting up factories and shipping vehicles north, often bypassing tariffs that would apply elsewhere. Now, that loophole is closed. The new policy is a clear message. Mexico wants to ensure that its own industries, and those of its closest allies, aren't undercut by outside competition. The decision forces global car companies to rethink their supply chains and raises urgent questions about the future of North American trade. Automakers must now consider where to build, source, and sell their vehicles, and how to adapt to a rapidly changing regulatory environment. Mexico's move is a game changer, setting the stage for a new era in continental economics. It could lead to more investment in local manufacturing, deeper ties between the US, Mexico, and Canada, and a shift in how global companies approach the North American market. The story's just beginning, and its impact will be felt far beyond Mexico's borders. As the world watches, the decisions made today will shape the future of trade, industry, and economic power across the continent and beyond. To understand Mexico's recent decision, let's break down tariffs, a concept that often makes headlines but can be confusing. Tariffs are essentially taxes placed on goods that are brought into a country from abroad. They're a tool used by governments to influence trade, and their effects can be felt by businesses, workers, and everyday shoppers alike. When a country imposes tariffs, it's making imported products more expensive compared to those made locally. The idea is to encourage people to buy homegrown goods, which in turn helps protect local industries and jobs from foreign competition. Imagine you're shopping for an electric car. You see two options, one made in Mexico and another imported from China. Without tariffs, the Chinese car might be cheaper, making it an attractive choice for budget-conscious buyers. But if the government adds a hefty tariff to the Chinese car, its price jumps significantly. Suddenly, the Mexican-made car becomes more affordable and appealing, even if the features are similar. This can help shield domestic jobs, keeping factories busy and workers employed. Local businesses may thrive, and the economy can benefit from increased production at home. However, there's a trade-off. Tariffs often mean higher prices for everyday goods, from cars to electronics to groceries. Shoppers may find themselves paying more at the checkout, which can be frustrating, especially when budgets are tight. And with fewer imported products on the shelves, consumers might have less variety to choose from, limiting their options and sometimes even leading to shortages. Governments must carefully balance the desire to protect local industries with the risk of sparking trade wars. If Mexico taxes Chinese cars, China could retaliate by taxing Mexican exports, escalating tensions and making international trade more difficult. High tariffs can make imported goods so expensive that they're priced out of the market entirely, leaving shelves full of unsold products and businesses struggling to adapt. At the same time, these policies can trigger global economic uncertainty, with stock markets reacting and world leaders scrambling to negotiate new deals. For workers in protected industries, tariffs can be a lifeline, helping to secure jobs and provide stability for families and communities. But for consumers, the downside is clear. Higher prices and fewer choices can make everyday life more expensive and less convenient. Mexico's move to impose tariffs is a calculated risk, aiming to strengthen its own industries and workforce in the long run, even if it means short-term challenges. The stakes are high, and the effects of these decisions will ripple through the global economy, shaping the way countries trade, businesses operate, and consumers shop for years to come. Mexico's tariff change stunned Washington and Ottawa, who long saw Mexico as an open channel for global trade. The US worried China was using Mexico to bypass American tariffs, sending goods north under favorable trade terms. Mexico's new tariffs on EVs from countries without free trade deals, including China, mark a strategic realignment with the US. This move signals Mexico's commitment to a unified North American manufacturing bloc. Canada, caught off guard, now faces a new dynamic in trade talks as Mexico asserts itself as a proactive partner. The timing, just before the 2026 USMCA review, sets a new baseline for negotiations. Mexico has declared its intent to be a key player in a protected North American market. Mexico's action fits into a broader North American trend, rising protectionism against China's rapidly expanding EV industry, which has been making waves globally. The US led the way, imposing a steep 100% tariff on Chinese EVs, effectively making them uncompetitive in the American market, and sending a strong message. Canada quickly followed suit, matching US tariffs on Chinese EVs and key car components, signaling a coordinated approach. This alignment aims to block China from rerouting exports through Canada or Mexico, closing potential loopholes in the system. With Mexico now on board, all three USMCA partners present a united front, closing the last major gateway for Chinese EVs into North America. The goal is clear: protect North American industries and foster homegrown EV manufacturing for the future. It's a direct response to China's aggressive industrial strategy, and a bold bet on North America's future in the global EV race. When tariffs go up, companies don't just sit back, they get creative, finding new ways to keep their products moving and their profits intact. The global auto industry in particular is a master at adapting to shifting trade policies. Executives gather in boardrooms, analyzing the latest regulations and brainstorming strategies to stay ahead of the curve. For many, the stakes are high. A single tariff hike can mean millions lost or gained. Chinese electric vehicle makers, for example, are now eyeing Mexico as a strategic base for new factories. By setting up shop just south of the US border, they hope to rebrand their cars as Mexican-made, allowing them to tap into the benefits of the USMCA trade agreement and bypass steep US tariffs. Billions of dollars are pouring into these Mexican auto plants. Brands like BYD and MG Motor are investing heavily, building massive new facilities and hiring local workers, all in pursuit of a clever workaround to the new trade barriers. Some companies use a method called CKD assembly, shipping cars in parts or completely knocked down to Mexico for final assembly. This approach is designed to give their vehicles a North American origin, helping them skirt tariffs and keep prices competitive. But it's not as simple as just assembling cars in Mexico. The USMCA has strict rules. At least 75% of a car's value must come from North America to qualify for tariff-free status. That means companies must carefully source parts and materials, tracking every bolt and battery to prove compliance. Customs scrutiny is intense. Inspectors at the border meticulously check documents and inspect vehicles. If a car is still mostly Chinese in content, tariffs are slapped on, erasing any cost advantage. It's a constant cat-and-mouse game. Governments work to close loopholes as soon as they're discovered, while companies race to find new ways to stay one step ahead, sometimes exploiting gray areas in the rules or shifting supply chains overnight. This relentless race to adapt is reshaping the auto industry across North America. From factory floors in Mexico to showrooms in the US and Canada, the impact of these new rules is being felt everywhere, driving innovation and competition like never before. At the heart of this story is the USMCA, the trade deal binding the US, Mexico, and Canada. USMCA's strict rules of origin require 75% of a car's content to be North American for tariff-free trade. This rule was designed to boost local manufacturing and block simple assembly of cheap imports. Mexico's new tariffs reinforce USMCA's core principle: prioritize North American production. With all three partners aligned, the Fortress North America vision is closer to reality. The 2026 in Sao USMCA review will be pivotal. Mexico's move puts unified trade policy at the top of the agenda. The future of the continent's largest industry hangs in the balance. The next chapter will define North America's economic landscape for years to come. For consumers, these trade shifts mean higher EV prices, Fewer cheap imports, less price competition. The transition to electric vehicles could slow, making EVs less accessible for many families. But for North American workers, tariffs promise more factory jobs and new investments. Companies are building plants in Mexico and the US to avoid tariffs, creating jobs from assembly lines to supply chains. Recent investments by global automakers and Chinese firms alike are already boosting local economies. The goal: a self-sustaining North American industrial ecosystem. The challenge: ensuring job growth outweighs higher consumer costs. The outcome will shape both paychecks and price tags across the continent. Mexico's EV tariff shift marks a pivotal turning point for North American industry. The continent is moving from open globalization to a more defensive, integrated economic bloc, reshaping its future. Geopolitics, supply chain fears, and the push for local jobs are all driving this transformation. The 2026 USMCA review will test whether the US, Canada, and Mexico can truly unite as partners. The stakes, jobs, prices, and North America's place in the global economy could not be higher. The economic map is being redrawn, and the world is closely watching these changes. The journey has just begun. Where it leads will affect millions of lives.